Hey guys, it's Sean here. Just wanted to finish up Chapter 6. So, in Chapter 6, we left off talking about online businesses. Um, when we discussed online businesses, we discussed that it's a growing area of the economy. Online sales reached over 381 billion in 2016, about 8% for all retail sales. Forrester predicts online sales to reach 500 billion by 2020. And just so you know, online storefronts are becoming more prevalent, especially with companies and organizations that make online selling and online storefronts really easy. For instance, Amazon. Many of you don't know this, but when you buy from Amazon, you're either buying from Amazon or you could be buying from a individual's storefront on Amazon. So it's really easy to create a store and a storefront and sell things on Amazon. Additionally, there's businesses out there that like Etsy that allows you to sell different things. Pinterest, you can sell things directly through Pinterest. It's pretty amazing the number of different storefronts that you can have, and you can make a pretty good living selling things online. Encouraging entrepreneurship, what the government can do. Well, the government can help us, and the government can help capitalism and spurring the economy. The Immigration Act passed in 1990 created a category of investor visas that encourage entrepreneurs to come to the U.S. Think about it. We live in an area of Tennessee right now where we have a lot of people that come to this country to work in Oak Ridge. R&D is a big part of our economy over in Oak Ridge, and the Immigration Act passed in 1990 helps that. A lot of foreign individuals come to this country to chase the so-called American dream and to develop businesses and business ideas because it's a it's an economy and a government that encourages it. Enterprise zones are specific geographical areas to which governments try to attract private business investments by offering lower taxes and other government support. This, in fact, Oak Ridge area is an enterprise zone. It is specifically trying to attract private businesses by offering lower taxes and other government support. In fact, Oak Ridge Research Center allows people to come in and help develop new and exciting new products. In fact, there's a supercomputer in Oak Ridge that you can rent out from the government to run calculations and different things to make sure that your product is feasible. Incubators are centers that offer new business low-cost offices with basic services. In Oak Ridge, there's an incubator. In fact, the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce has a small business incubator right there at Market Square. So these are some things that the government can help us and encourage entrepreneurship. So small versus big business, getting started in small business. Small business is a business that is independently owned and operated. It is not dominant in its field of operation and meets certain standards of size set by the SBA in terms of employees and annual receipts. Businesses are small in relation to other businesses in their industries. If you think about it, there's a lot of mom and pop restaurants out there. Think about all these small individual restaurants out there that are small, one location. They're not as big as those chains out there like Red Robin and stuff like that. However, they're classified as small business because of the terms of number of employees and their annual sales. Some small business statistics to keep in mind: there are 28 million small businesses in the U.S. Of all non-farm businesses in the U.S., almost 97% are considered small. Small businesses account for over 50% of our GDP. Think about that. When you were comparing GDP a couple chapters ago, you were looking at the U.S. GDP and how it is so much bigger than other countries, almost quadruple the size of some very established companies. or countries. Think about that. 50% of that is made up of small businesses. Small businesses have generated 65% of new jobs. Small businesses employ about half of all our private sector employees, and 80% of our U.S. workers' first jobs were in small businesses. So this is very important to keep in mind when we talk about the election coming up and when we talk about its impact on the economy. Small businesses, it's a very important part of our economy. And think about that. If your favorite candidate or the person that you're considering voting for is talking about taxing small businesses more, making it harder for small businesses, it may not be good for our economy. So that's why it's so important to keep in mind that small businesses are an important aspect of our economy. Small businesses, the importance of small business, more personal customer service. And we have the ability to respond quickly to opportunities. For instance, I talk about my brother-in-law and his landscaping company. He receives estimate requests directly on his cell phone and responds to them personally. And he also follows up with customer service personally. Those are things that small businesses can do. However, when we talk about my wife's company, JTV, being a big business, she can't respond as quickly and for customer service or anything similar to that because of the size of the organization. There's a lot of layers there. So small businesses are more agile. Small businesses, though, have a lot of track record of failures. Business failures, though, are lower than the reports because owners closing a small business to start another is reported as a failure. Think about all those businesses that close and then somebody starts a new business. Changing ownership, too, is reported as a failure, and retirement is reported as a failure. So think about those small businesses. So my father sold the business to my brother-in-law. So that company is a failure in the government's eyes. Also, changing form of ownership from one owner to another is also a possible failure. Causes of small business failure. These are some of the reasons, right? Plunging in without testing the waters with a small scale. Underpricing or overpricing goods. Remember, we talked about how important it is to have the right type of pricing to see where we need to set our prices. We talked about variable and fixed pricing. Very important, right? Underestimating how much time it will take to build a market. Starting with too little capital. Starting with too much capital and being careless. Going into business with little or no experience. Borrowing money without planning how to pay it back. Attempting to do too much business with too little capital. Not allowing for setbacks and failures, buying too much on credit, extending credit too freely, extending credit too rapidly, failure to keep complete records, carrying habits of personal extravagance into the business, not understanding business cycles, forgetting about taxes, insurance, and other costs of doing business, and mistaking freedom of being in business for oneself for the liberty of work or not. Some cases for success, right? A customer requires a lot of personal attention, such as a salon, and giving that personal attention. The product is not easily made by mass production, so custom tailored clothes or some sort of a copyrighted product, trademark product. Sales are not large enough to appeal to a large firm, e.g. a novelty shop. The neighborhood is not attractive because of crime or poverty. Opportunity for small grocery stores and laundries in that area. A large business sells a franchise operation to local buyers, and the owner pays attention to new competitors, and a business is in a growth industry. For example, computer services or web design. Right now, we're talking about maybe masks for the pandemic. Learning about small business operations. It's important that you learn from others. Investigate colleges like ours for classes on small business and entrepreneurship. Talk and network with other local entrepreneurs that are successful. Get some experience. Work in the industry that you want to go into and gain some experience. Start a part-time small business. Take over a successful business. Managing a small business. Remember, there's a lot that goes into managing a business. In fact, some of the major business functions that you're going to have to keep an eye on and run is planning. We talked about creating a business plan, financing, customer service, managing and hiring employees, so HR, and then also finance and keeping records. These are all major business functions and something that as a business owner or entrepreneur, you're going to have a little bit of experience in each. We talked about a business plan, which is a detailed written statement that describes the nature of the business, the target market, the advantages the business will have in relation to competition, and the resource and qualifications of the owners. A business plan forces potential owners to be specific about what they will offer. Remember, a business plan is mandatory for talking with bankers or investors. If you want to get a small loan for a business, they're going to ask to see a business and marketing plan. Writing a good plan. You have to understand that a good plan takes a long time to prepare, and there's many iterations of it. A good executive summary catches the interest and tempts potential investors to read on. Getting the plan into the right hands is almost as important as getting the right information in it. Let's talk about financing your small business. Some sources of capital. Personal savings. Now be careful here, because one thing that I don't want to encourage is cleaning out your 401k or your savings to start a small business if you don't have to. If you put together a solid business plan and there is a need and want for your product or service, you should be able to get a business loan from a local institution. And remember from our last chapter, protect yourselves with an LLC, a limited liability company or corporation. Business associates, family, although I don't recommend borrowing from family, but it is a potential source of investment. Government agencies, and then angel investors. Angels, investors, and venture capitalists, these are individuals that invest in new businesses for exchange for partial ownership of those businesses. The best example I could give you guys is if you ever watched the TV show Shark Tank. You think that they're just giving them money, but they're actually venture capitalists that are investing in other people's business. That is their job. They have a net wealth that they can make investments into other companies and reap some of the rewards of those businesses. Community development financial institutions, CDFIs, are playing a bigger role in the economic recovery, and only 1% of loans were not paid back in the last 30 years. CDFIs provide business counseling as well as loans, and Knoxville has a community development institution right downtown that the city of Knoxville can put you in contact with. Small business administrations can help too. The SBA is a U.S. government agency that advises and assists small businesses on providing management and training and financial advice and loans. The SBA started a microloan program actually in 1991, and it also provides small loans to businesses. A small business investment company is a program through which private investment companies licensed by the SBA lend money to other small businesses. The SBIC must have a minimum of $5 million in capital and can borrow up to $2 million from the SBA for each $1 of capital it has, right? So SBICs are able to identify a business's trouble spots early, giving entrepreneurs advice and sometimes scheduling loan payments for them. So an SBIC can be very helpful. Small business development centers are funded jointly by federal government and individual states. In fact, Knoxville has an SBDC. SBDCs are able to evaluate the feasibility of your idea, develop your business plan, and complete your funding application for no charge. SBA may provide the following types of financial investment too. Microloans, guaranteed loans, Export Express, helping you with exporting product, community adjustment and investment programs, pollution control loans, 504 certified development company loans, and cap line loans. All right, so you're starting a small business. It's important that you know your customers. You investigate the market. The market is formed of people with unsatisfied wants and needs who have both resources and willingness to buy your product. So you have to consider your product. You have to research your market, right? Is there a need or is there a want for your product? Think about it right now. Remember we were talking about in class the idea of setting up a small business kiosk in the Knoxville airport for respirator masks. Is there a want and need for people in airports for respirator masks? You better believe it. In fact, I saw in a recent report that a Chinese company reached out to an American company and put in an order online for $60 million of respirator masks. Unfortunately, the U.S. company couldn't fulfill that order and had to cancel that order, that online order. But think about that. There's wants and needs for those masks, and people are willing to buy. So the idea is to set out to fill your market's needs by offering top quality and great service at a fair price. One of the great advantages of small business is the ability to know your market and quickly adapt to the market needs. So think about that. Know your customers and know your market. Next, managing your employees. As an entrepreneur, a small business person, you're going to have to hire, train, and motivate your own employees. This is sometimes very difficult. Employees of small companies are often more satisfied with their jobs because they feel challenged and respected. However, it's important to know that it is a very difficult, sometimes downright challenging part of owning a business is hiring and training your employees. However, entrepreneurs best serve themselves in the business if they recruit and groom employees for management type positions and taking over for them one day. In addition, when you do start a business, it's highly recommended that you work with a good accountant or a bookkeeper. A good accountant or bookkeeper can help you decide whether to buy or lease equipment, own or rent a building, help you with your tax planning. Remember, because if you're a corporate or a corporation, you have to file separate tax returns. Financial forecasting, choosing sources of financing, and writing requests for funds. A good bookkeeper or accountant can help in that. And a lot of accountants you can hire as consultants. It's important to know that you can look to help. Owners need outside consulting and advice early in the process, and small, medium-sized firms cannot afford to hire experts as employees. So a lot of times you can look and hire small business consultants or small business lawyers. They can help with leases, contracts, partnership agreements, and also protection against liabilities. In addition, marketing decisions need to be made long before introducing a product or opening a store. A marketing research study can help you determine where to locate your business, who to select as your target market, and what is an effective strategy for reaching that market. These are all important parts of a marketing research consultant or a marketing consultant and what they can provide to you. In addition, commercial loan officers can help design an acceptable business plan, lend money, and give financial advice. Insurance agents can help you manage the risks associated with the business, cover risks, and prevent risks. And then also SCORE, or Service Corps of Retired Executives. These are more than 11,000 volunteers from industry, trade associates, and education who have executive business experience that can help you at no cost. Finally, it's important to keep in mind going global. Small business now is not just a local endeavor. You can go global. Small and medium-sized businesses actually accounted for 99% of recent export growth. As we discussed, Amazon and Etsy and all these storefronts, these online storefronts, can take your business anywhere and everywhere in the world. The advantages of global trade for small businesses: overseas buyers enjoy dealing with individuals. Small companies can usually begin shipping much faster. Small businesses can provide a wide variety of suppliers, and they can give more personal service and attention. So that's the rest of Chapter 6. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, there is a small business marketing plan extra credit assignment that I'll be posting information about. So make sure that you look in Brightspace for the small business marketing plan assignment. Remember, it's worth unlimited amount of bonus points. So it's worth as much as you put into it. So if you didn't do as well as you wanted to on that quiz, there's still time to turn it around, and there's still time to get a great grade in this class. Thanks, and we'll see